Video 2 we will see about patient care units and ward management, how they maintain it. So hospital provide the best care to the patients at least cost. So it should be implemented. And then the hospital differ in size and complexity. So each hospital differs with its own size, with its complexity. It has many departments also which is designed to serve patients. So the patients spend most of their time in the patient care unit after time admission in the hospital. So once when they are getting admitted, then the patient actually has to spend time in the hospital. So there is need to focus most on the services that is based upon the patient care unit. The services should be directed towards improved patient care and better utilization of personnel at all levels. So, the patient actually should be benefited through the services, and various nursing personnel also is placed at their levels. They have their own functions. Then efforts should be made in several areas such as food services, medication supply, etc. It is reasonably assumed that all this will result in better utilization of manpower and material, as well as result in improved patient care. So utilization of the material resources, personnel is important, so that the patient is adequately benefited by these resources. So principles of the patient care unit. So when we say in the patient care unit, we will see what are the various principles that has to be included. So efficient administrative department should be there. So whenever patient is required to direct contact and coordinate the activities, he should be able to meet them. Then diagnostic facilities should be there in the hospital, like X-ray, CT, MRI, blood test, the lab. Then dietary department should be there to fulfill their dietary need. Then central service department. This is organized to produce, when we say CSD here, central service department, we will have services such as pharmacy will be there, housekeeping will be there, laundry services, central stores with distribution. So all these will come under CSD, central service department. Next we will see what are the elements of planning of patient care unit. So when we say, we'll see what are the elements that is included, that has to be kept in mind when we are planning for patient care unit. First is size of patient care unit. So information regarding the factors such as type of patient, rate of turnover, variety of health problems. So based upon the cases, the diseases, number of patients getting admitted, and doctors, number of doctors according to the patient requirement, number of personnel working under her supervision should be borne in mind. So when we are planning patient care unit, all these has to be kept in mind. What are the various diseases that can be cured, number of patients getting admitted, the criticality, the critical state of the patient. Based on that, doctors and other personnels are to be planned. The quality of patient care based on real needs of patients should be the criteria for determining. So it should be based on the quality of nursing care that has to be given, or quality of care overall to the patient. Based on that, we have to decide on the size. Next, shape of unit. So when we say shape of units, shape of patient care unit such as rectangular, round, cross, etc. has its advantages and disadvantages. The choice of shape of unit should be decided after careful study of the site, so we should keep all this in mind, study of the site, the number of beds per floor we can occupy, orientation, and then distribution intended. Based on that, the shape has to be decided. Then patient's room. So we have to see number of beds per room, how much we can put. Then size of the room on patient care unit, it varies according to deluxe room, semi-private, private room. So based on that, the distribution of the bed varies, the size varies. It should be in a way which provide more opportunity for observation of patients and save nursing time because of less distance among patients' bed. So how much gap should be kept between in general wards, from one patient to other patient. Then where to keep their accessories. Then the room should be large enough to accommodate doctor, nurse, student nurses during rounds. Each room should have locker large enough to accommodate the articles of patients. The door should be fire safe. Now the door should be fire safe, and it should measure 3 feet 10 inches to accommodate wheelchair, stretchers, and beds. So this has to be kept in mind when it comes to patient's room based on the deluxe, private, semi-private, general ward, and all should be able to visit, like doctors, nurses, student doctors, and then it should be fireproof. The door should be fireproof. Then it should be like, the doors should be fire safe and measure 3 feet. The room should be at least 3 feet 10 inches so that we can accommodate even the wheelchair, stretchers, and beds. Okay, next, lighting. When we say lighting, it should have lighting levels ranging from a fraction of foot candle for night lighting up to 100 foot candles or more for examination of treatment. Different level of lighting is required for patients' use and for routine nursing care. Noise, we know that it should be noise proof area. Okay, patient care unit should either be reduced or eliminated. It shouldn't be noise at all. If it is a very minimal, it should be. So it is good that they have nice noise proof walls. Then ventilation, good cross ventilation should happen. Okay, and then isolation and security room for infectious diseases like now COVID-19, and then you have other cholera, tuberculosis. For them, we should make sure that the disease does not transmit from one person to other person. So we have to give isolation rooms. And then treatment room should be there for small procedures that can be carried out, where the privacy can be provided for the patient, and doctors as well as for the staff, they can be there in order to treat the patient. Okay, and this again, treatment room also is the same like 3 feet 10 inches as per the patient room. Okay, it should be wide to accommodate wheelchairs, stretchers, beds, etc. Okay, so coming to nurse station. So in the diagram you can see the various systems that is included under planning of patient care unit. So nurses station, we know that it is the communication, administration and charting center of the patient care unit, where the nurses will be there. They will keep all the records there. The required articles for the procedure also will be placed there. It should be centrally located in a ward, and then it should observe the patient whenever required. So it is not that they go and sit somewhere aloof. It should be at the center, and they should be able to look at all the patients, what has happened to them. Then usually we keep all the forms like pre-operative form, admission procedure, discharge procedure, AMA, blood investigation. All the forms should be kept in the rack in the back of counter. Then a safe storage place for nurses' purse. They should have their purse room. Okay, so purse, lockers, everything can be kept in the nurses station if a locker is given. Otherwise, separate lounge should be given to them. It should be provided with one toilet. They should have separate toilet and lavatory, which a patient does not use. Each unit patient should have its own nurses station and supporting services. Each unit, each department like OPD, and then you have medical ward, surgical ward, ortho ward. So every ward should have their own toilet facility, own lounge, or lockers has to be given where the nurses can keep their things in a safe place. Then you have medication room. So for storage and preparation of the medication, it should have adequate space to accommodate more than one person. The pharmacy should be responsible for stocking. So when we say it should have shelves, should be there. Double locked narcotics are usually very costly, expensive, and it is always kept in a locker. So there should be a double locked narcotic safe. Then drawers for storage of syringes, refrigerator, sink for washing hand paper, towel dispenser, soap dispenser, then a waste receptacle, a bulletin board. All these things has to be kept. Bulletin board you can actually write down. Any patient has to be sent to the surgery, okay, or any critically ill, you can write it in the bulletin board. Okay, so these all will be there in the medication room. Next you have conference room and offices. So in patient care unit, one conference room should be provided for the use of head nurse and for conferences between head nurse and other staff members. So there should be conference hall, okay, where they all come together, gather, and conferences can be conducted. They should have a bulletin board, blackboard, or provision for AV8 should be there. It should be utilized by team conferences, different departments, and when they come together as one team, they should be able to utilize it. In service programs and conferences with patient or family has to be done. Then day room in patient care unit depend on the hospital policy. If visitors are making use of day room, it should be designed and located so that noise is not disturbing the patient. Okay, so it is actually dependent on the hospital policy. For the visitors you can give, but when they are staying, they should make sure. So usually it is kept away from the wards separately, okay, so that it does not disturb the patients. Supply room, so it is a central storage distribution point for all sterile and non-sterile supply used on the unit. It is also known as storeroom of patient care unit. Sterile, non-sterile items will be there, so they will provide the supply whatever is required. So from the department wise, from the different wards, they can go do an indent and take the required things. Housekeeping, so so with least interference with nursing activities without transferring undesirable elements. The main function of housekeeping is removal of soil. They do removal of cleaning, washing, so for floor mopping, removal of the soil and washing of all the bed pads, urinals to prevent cross infection. This will be done by the housekeeping. Then nourishment facilities, when you see food should be served in closed container from hospital dietary department to patient care unit and to be served to patients. The trays used for distributing should be returned to uh, dishwashing room, DISHWSH. So whatever is required food, it should be covered and come, and after eating it should be given to the dishwashing room. Okay, then stretchers and wheelchairs, make sure that it is used for the patients whenever it is required. Okay, when they are sent for surgery, receiving from the surgery, when the patient is not able to walk. Okay, one stretcher and 2 wheelchairs are required as minimum for each. So for 30 to 35 medical and surgical bed, we require about 1 stretcher and 2 wheelchair for every 30 to 35 bed. It can be medical cases or for surgical ward. Okay, next we'll see central supply of oxygen and suction. You should have seen in the hospital, which is fixed on the floor, on the wall. Okay, so you should have that, patient should have that, because it can be used during the emergency. Communication system like radio system or telephone or with paging system with central broadcasting etc. should be in the patient care unit. Even registers are mean of communication such as report register and out register. All this has to be maintained. Okay, so with this we are finishing elements of planning patient care unit. So here we have seen size of the patient care, size of shape of unit, patient's room, lighting, ventilation, isolation and security room, nourishment facility, stretcher and wheelchair, CSSD. You know, CSSD is where central supply of sterilized article. Okay, so that is done. So then you have nurses station, medication room, conference room and office, daycare, day room, supply room, housekeeping, central oxygen supply, suction system, communication system. Okay, so with this we are finishing with the elements of planning patient care unit. So next we will go to ward management. So we will see how this ward management has to be done. So when we say main role in ward management, it is performed by the nursing unit. So the nursing unit that forms the system in the ward ensures their proper implementation. So nursing unit should make sure that they manage everything, they do a good administration in order to provide qualitative nursing care to the patient, and also meeting the needs of the staff nurses, finding out what is their difficulty, as a team, how are they able to work, what are their challenges. So all these things should be able to be dealt by the nurse manager. Okay, and this is a main role of a ward management also. Okay, nursing unit should also design, operate minimum cost and can be at the same time achieve the functional goals of the ward. Then the person in charge of nursing care in the ward is called ward sister, nursing sister or sister in charge. Now we are called as nursing officer. So now, because the book is old one, right? So now they are graded as nursing officer. So they also prefer them calling as officer. So they should be called as sir or ma'am, no more like brother and sister. That's what it is said. So because they are called as officers, they are they are addressed as sir or madam. Okay, so no, it's not mandatory that we have to call nurses as brother and sister. Okay, so the main functions of the nursing sister or in charge or brother in charge is to provide quality nursing care. You have to supervise and control, carrying in out the orders that is given by the medical doctors, give proper orientation to the staff, about the ward and policies who have newly joined, about the procedures, then proper management of the ward with good housekeeping and cleanliness, evaluation of the ward staff on regular basis through systematic methods has to be done. For example, checklist, rating scales, anecdotal records, all this have to be maintained. Then objectives of nursing in the ward unit. While providing nursing care in the ward or unit, nurse should provide maximum comfort and happiness to the patient, okay, with the way of pleasant surroundings. It should not be smelly, good ventilation, good lighting, comfortable bed, okay, cleanliness, hygiene is maintained around the patient, hygiene of the ward. Then comprehensive care to the patient, total care, keeping in mind the physical, mental, social, psychological needs of the patient and giving care need based to the patient according to the priority, the needs, the problems of the patient we'll have to treat. Then accurate assessment of illness, you have to assess properly so as to treat the patient. Then health education to patients and their relatives, maintain privacy at all levels. So we have to maintain privacy at all levels. Then management in the ward, when we see ward management is facilitated by development of systemic procedures for dealing with details of ward administration by adoption of a system of day-to-day task while managing ward. The manager has to apply various managerial skill. So a manager, okay, nurse manager, who's the one who's going to, control the ward or manage the ward, she should have or he should have these skills: human skills, technical skills, intellectual skills, conceptual skills, okay, human skills, good human relation, communication, and then technical, you should have knowledge about various apparatus, the upcoming new technologies. And then intellectual, how to cope up, how to handle a situation, how you can manage if there is any lack or inadequacy. All this is required. Okay, then physical layout of the unit: location and area, size, then type of patients, requirements of staff, then we see position of head nurse or ward clerk. So when we say location and area, the inpatient area should be located away from the main route. So inpatient wards should be away from the main road, that is the OPD building. OPD is where they will just come, they will show if anything is very ill or critical, then they will be transferred into the inpatient department. So it should be kept away from the main road and from the OPD. Then this is done to avoid the disturbance, to prevent cross infection. Okay, the inpatient area must be close to supportive departments. So in inpatient department only you should have all this blood bank, ICU, X-ray, CSSD department should be there. Next, inpatient area covers approximately 30 to 50% of the total hospital area. So total of the area, this constitutes about 35 to 50%. Then per bed area should be 70 to 90 square feet meter. But in obstetric and ortho ward, it should be more like 100 to 120 square feet. ICU should be 120 to 150 square feet meter per bed. That you should know. Normal bed, general ward 70 to 90. When it comes to ortho and obstetrics, it should be 100 to 120 feet square feet. ICU should be 120 to 150 square feet meter per bed. Distance between two bed must be 3.5 to 4 feet. Okay, so size of the ward, it varies in different hospitals. Normally when we see units of 20 to 90 beds are known to have been made, then the ward should be very big or not very small. Okay, it should not be too big or not very small, it should be medium based upon the number of patients we will have, number of beds that we have. Following factors should be kept. So as I told you, type of patients. Okay, so wards are made according to the types of patients. So if they are very critically ill, like if you want a load of workers in ICU, CCU, recovery room, etc. So there we might have more patients. According to that, the length, the width, breadth of the ward also should be increased. Then they should be smaller and 4 to 6 bedded. So if you have very less of critical patients, then it could be only 4 to 6 bedded. Wards of chronic patients, be like tuberculosis patient ward, psychiatric ward, they might require a little bigger because infectious disease, right? So you have to keep adequate spacing. Then requirement of staff, then again it is based on the requirement of the staff. Then position of the head nurse and ward clerk also carry number of work, as there is less need of staff. So these wards should be bigger. Otherwise, where nurses responsible for clerical works, wards should be smaller in size. So wards should be smaller. Okay, so these are all the physical layout of the wards or unit. Then shape or design of ward. So it is again based upon certain factors, like we see open wards. These are also known as Florence Nightingale. Nightingale spelling is wrong. Nightingale wards. These wards are rectangular in shape. So these are called as open wards and these are rectangular in shape. These wards are constructed in 1770 by Frenchmen. There are 2 rows of beds in each side. So each side you will see 2 rows of beds. Then we also see that ward facility is at one end, at the other end nursing station. So ward will be another side, nurses station will be on the other side. These wards accommodate about 30 to 35 patients. The length of these wards is 96 feet. So the main advantages of these wards are cross ventilation is there, natural light is available. It is almost like your classroom. Both the sides you have, so like both the sides patients will be there with good adequate lighting, and then ventilation with windows are also available. So these open wards are mainly for general wards. Direct observation of the patient at all times can be done. So as a teacher, we are sitting here, we will be able to see. So likewise, even a nurse, when she is sitting in the center, she will be able to visualize both the sides of the patient, and it is economical, easy to construct and maintain these wards. So disadvantages will be they can have more noise, okay, because of more windows. Then danger of cross infection also will be there. Okay, sometimes it is just opposite and close by a few places. There are dangers of cross infection. There are no privacy to patient. Then constant glare to the patients because because of too much of lighting, the sunlight glares can happen. So rig wards, these wards are known as cubicles. So it is like a cubicle. So in this design, the ward unit is divided into small compartment known as cubicles. So small cubicles like you will have, it is like almost a separated compartment. These cubicles are separated by low partitions. So you will get to see that there are low partitions. And what are the advantages? No noise of other patient, and then no danger of cross infection, no privacy is well maintained, no glare of the patients. Okay, so you need not see others, privacy is maintained, then there are no dangers of cross infection. Okay, then disadvantages, it is difficult to maintain, and even construction, it's quite expensive, more staff is required, communication between nurse and patient becomes difficult. Okay, and then costly to build. So these are all the disadvantages. So first we have seen open wards, second we have seen like cubicles, which are the rig wards, then you have ancillary accommodation. So under this you have nurses station, treatment room, okay, and then clean utility room, pantry, day room, stores, dirty utility room, janitor's room, and then okay, auxiliary accommodation we see. Okay, so here when we see nurses station will be there. Okay, so when we say nursing sister room, and it should have a toilet, right? And then they should be able to carry out their work. Drug cupboard should be there. Treatment room for dressing, minor procedure. Clean utility room, where clean clothes, linen are kept and other things are kept. Pantry, it's necessary for nursing unit to restore the male patients' meals. Pantry is where after eating they will keep all the plates. Okay, and then they should also have facility of using hot water, fridge, hot case, everything can be kept in the pantry. Then day room, when we say, as I told you, for visitors, and then stores for nursing, for keeping all the supplies should be there. And then to keep all the dirty soiled things, we need dirty utility room. Janitor's room is where keeping all the phenol, mop, okay, everything has to be kept, like wash basin, everything can be kept in the janitor's room. Then auxiliary accommodation, when we say there should be a room, what are the other accommodation that has to be provided is, there should be a separate room for doctors, there should be seminar room, okay, conference hall, side room, laboratory is necessary for routine test near the patient, right? And then there should be trolley bag, wheelchair, stretcher, everything has to be placed. So all these places, accommodation area also is required. Next we'll go to factors affecting the quality of nursing care. So when we say there are a number of factors which affects the quality of nursing care, so they are like general factors. When we say they contribute or influence the quality of hospital care, the presence or absence of these factors or the extent to which a particular hospital tries to achieve better standards with regards of these factors, which will indirectly reflect the hospital of quality of hospital care. So general factors, keeping in mind the factors that influences the hospital quality care is necessary. Then hospital staff, when we say hospital care is provided by hospital staff, their efficiency and proficiency will affect the patient care. So having adequate staff, education and training, continuing education is required. Physical facilities and equipments that are required, layout, clean and pleasant environment availability is very important. Okay, and these facilities and equipments are required for giving good qualitative care to the patient, so that they can get easily or early discharge and leave the hospital. Clinical and service facilities, appropriate clinical facilities to solve any clinical problems is required, and to provide good quality medical care. Effective use of beds, okay, so making sure that beds are provided. Okay, well measure of quality of care. Quantum of work, load of work on particular hospital affects the quality of care. So based upon the good quality care, we will have lot of patients coming in, right? And then administration, proper administration management of hospital by trained and experienced administrator contribute a lot towards improvement of quality of care. So with this we are finishing our patient care unit. So we have seen what are the various elements that are there, and then after that we have seen what are okay, you also have a topic, progressive patient care. We will also see what is that. Okay, progressive patient care. So when we say progressive patient care, it is a nursing is a service which is provided to the individual, family and therefore to the society. If this theory has to be individualized to meet the individual needs of the patient, progressive patient care is very important. So in 1957, under the sponsorship of the US Public Health Services Division of Hospital, they have formulated this, okay, progressive patient care. Then it is to determine methodology for classifying patient based on an evaluation of many factors to make determination of the best kind of unit which the patient should be assigned. So Florence Nightingale grouped patients and facility in relation to the nursing care needs. So according to the needs of the patient, critically ill means they'll be placed in ICU, okay, and then if only minor, major means minor means medical, if they are undergoing surgery means surgical. So accordingly they will be placed. Definition, we will see, go to definition of progressive patient care. So according to Abdullah, the organization of facility, services and staff around the medical and nursing needs of the patient. Based on the needs, you have the staffs and the medical personnel, right, and the organization of the facility. Major objectives. What are the objective of this progressive patient care is providing high quality of therapeutic comprehensive health for each patient to meet his immediate needs. Okay, this, I think this is all self-explanatory. To provide adequate equipments and facility level, to provide a difficult level of medical and nursing care in the various units to meet the patient needs, shorten the average length of patient's hospitalization. So make sure you give effective care so the person gets easily discharged. Then to provide effective hospital services, then you have initiate suitable hospital admission procedures, to provide community service. So as a hospital, we should also be able to provide patient care in the community services also. So what are the elements? So when we say elements of progressive patient care, all these are included. The basic elements are intensive care. So intensive care is required, constant care, intermediate care, long-term care, self-care, home care, outpatient services, inpatient services and emergency services. So when we say intensive care unit, regardless of the diagnosis, if they are critically ill, then they require more of observation and 1:1 nursing care has to be provided. Then early detection of any myocardial infection or infarction, or then any progressive neurological changes can be found out. Or if patient with critical illness, open heart surgery, severe burns, if they are having poisoning cases, they can also be treated in ICU. Constant care is a new element of progressive patient care system for the accurately ill patient who require less continuous. So constant care is almost like a patient classified in the ICU category who requires constant care. Intermediate care patients includes those patients requiring very moderate amount of nursing care, so they can be placed in specialty units or in the general wards. Long-term care is where the patient is associated with health needs of the elderly patients who require prolonged nursing and supportive cases. So then we call them to be long-term care, patients under long-term care, so who requires continuous care. Right? Then patients with paraplegia, all this paraplegia, hemiplegia, poliomyelitis, cardiovascular accidents, geriatric patient, they all come under long-term care. So self-care is patients who are ambulatory, they are able to ambulate and they are able to meet their own therapeutic needs or diagnostic services, they are able to walk and go and come back. So those are self-care group. Preoperative services, specific treatment prior to discharge, so they all come under the category of self-care. Then home care, it is a hospital community service that assists patient in preparation for resuming their own home and family. Then outpatient services are provided. Emergency care are provided in case of poisoning, accident, okay, or injured persons. So these are all the various elements of progressive patient care. So based upon the type of patient, the different wards that are given to the patient. Advantages of progressive patient care: effective use is made of personnel, so we can use the staff and equipment. Patients are in the best place to revive, so they would be able to get the best of the care. Then use of nursing skills are maximized due to different staffing pattern in each unit. Extra privacy is appreciated by the patient. Then you have centralization of costly equipments, both diagnostic and therapeutic, instead of having them in different wards. Then centralization of kills person, it reduces the hospital cross infection. Then based upon the illness, equally they can be treated. Then centralizing of acutely ill patients, which affects maximum care for each case and eliminate the disturbance of other conclusive patients. Patients feel confident and encouraged. So when we say disadvantages, it can be like discomfort to the patient who are moved often and then who are moved, okay, so who have been keeping from acutely ill they might transfer them to ICU. Then from then ICU they can push them to send them to long term. So for them, if they are moved frequently, it becomes a discomfort. Then continuity of care becomes difficult. Long term nurse patient relationship is difficult to arrange. They keep shifting the ward also based on the illness, and again there is no relation that is built with the nurse. Heavy emphasis is based on comprehensive written care plan. Okay, for the nurses, meeting administrative needs of the organization staffing also becomes difficult. Low morale if patient has to go back from intermediate ward to ICU. So these are the various disadvantages. So this is about progressive patient care. So after elements, in your notes you have progressive patient care. Then we have seen ward management. Okay, what are the requirements of ward management, the skills in the nurse as a ward manager, then shape and design of a hospital, under that various hospital, then factors that affects the quality of nursing care. So with this we will finish. Next class we will continue with other topic.